What's going on is that Somniac with another New World video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Crowd Crusher skill tree. So this build has a lot of mitigation, debuff reduction, mobility, and AoE attacks, plus a lot of healing. I think this is a really cool build, and this is definitely something I'm going to be looking at for my main character. I'm probably going to make a hybrid build between Crowd Crusher and Juggernaut skill trees, trying to just min-max and optimize healing and damage, because I think that while the Crowd Crusher abilities are super strong, I think the Juggernaut tree is also really awesome, and I really want to work in a lot of the damage you can get from that tree as well. So the Crowd Crusher skill tree has three main abilities: Clear Out, Shockwave, and Path of Destiny. Clear Out is a basic attack that does 115% weapon damage, has a 15-second cooldown. Shockwave, you slam the ground doing an AoE attack that does 80% weapon damage and applies a 2-second stun to all enemies hit. And then Path of Destiny is kind of like a linear shockwave. It's just a traveling wave of energy, does 110% weapon damage to all enemies in its path. So these three abilities, I think they're more AoE focused, and the passives in the Crowd Crusher skill tree really make this build unique and pretty interesting in the style of it. So overall, the Crowd Crusher, I think that this is mostly an AoE cleave build, and we see our basic attacks just applying debuffs on enemies. This debuff that we apply to them is beneficial to us because we're going to be doing more damage to them, and we get haste for dealing damage with this build. But I think one of the biggest things about this build is the Prevailing Spirit passive, which is the regain 35% of the damage dealt from abilities as health. I think that that is really massive. At the same time, we get cooldown reduction from acceleration. So I think that this build is really solid. This is one of my favorite builds overall. I really like the AoE stun from Shockwave. I think that's a really cool mechanic. A lot of these perks, a lot of these talent points in Crowd Crusher are really amazing. I think that Warhammer builds are one of the more interesting ones to play around with hybrid specs to try and pick up stuff from both different trees, both different sides, and trying to make something super interesting. So I will probably be running Warhammer for playing with New Worlds as my main weapon. I'll be running Warhammer, and I'm gonna make a hybrid build between Juggernaut and Crowd Crusher because I feel like these abilities here are just pretty amazing in what they can do, and I think that there's a lot of creativity you can have in playing with these two trees. So this is the Crowd Crusher build, and I think the Crowd Crusher build is just is a solid PvP build. It could be really fun to play, just some AoE damage and some stunning, but a really tanky build as well for two-handed damage. So if you like this video, then I'll be putting out more of these, which is going through the different single spec builds for New World, and then moving into some hybrid builds, looking at how to really optimize our talents. So if you like this video, then hit that subscribe button to get notified when the next one's ready. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.